Ever feel like no matter how hard you try, the enemy just walks right through you? You're hitting your abilities, taking space, yet still somehow dying first and losing the fight? That's because it's not your mechanics, it's your positioning. Today, I'm going to be talking about how to master positioning as a tank. This video is going to help you stop getting melted and start becoming the foundation your team can rely on. Because when your positioning is smart, you don't just survive, you dominate your games. Alright, let's get started. Most tank players think that since they're a tank, they can just soak up the damage and that's their job. But listen, being in front doesn't mean being in danger. Your real job is to control space, set the tempo of the fight, and create safe paths for your team to follow. Bad tanks push too far alone and die. Good tanks position where their team can play off of them safely. So before you even think about taking space, ask yourself, can my team play here with me? If the answer is no, you're feeding, not tanking. Positioning isn't just about being in the open and taking space. It's about managing angles. Every time you walk into open space without cover or a corner to retreat to, you're practically giving the enemy team free ult charge. And worst case, you get picked and your team is stuck in a 6v5. So here's the rule you need to live by as a tank. Always make sure you have natural cover to retreat to. If you're a dive tank like Captain America or Hulk, before you engage, play behind some cover, scout, and make sure you know who you're diving. Hit your dive, use your cooldowns, come back, make sure you're able to retreat back to your corner, get healed, get your cooldowns back, and repeat. If you're a main tank like Strange or Mag, use off angles near cover to pressure without overcommitting. A lot of people think that the only way to create pressure as a main tank is to be out in the open and trying to do as much damage as possible, but you can actually play behind cover and still deal poke damage while you're trying to move up. There's no point in being out in the open for them to break your shield or break your mag bubble. Remember, corners equals safety equals longevity, and a tank that's alive is a tank that wins fights. I see so many tanks, even at higher ranks surprisingly, charge in, look back, and realize their team is still 20 feet behind them, and they'll start blaming the team for not pushing up with him. It's not that your team is being slow. It's the fact that you're positioning yourself with a big lack of awareness. Your job is to be the anchor point for your team to play around you. So ask yourself, can your supports heal you from where you are? Your supports should always see you from wherever you are. So make sure you're always in the LOS or line of sight of your supports so you're making their job and your job easier. Can your DPS follow up if you engage? If your DPS can't follow you wherever you go, your engage is pointless. You might be tanky, but you don't bring the damage. They do. Marvel Rivals isn't Valorant or CSGO. You can't carry alone, but you can enable the people who do the damage. Stop thinking I need to make the play and start thinking how do I make the play easier for my team. That's how tanks carry. Are you holding space or sprinting past it? You need to remember that regardless of where you go or how much space you take, you have to make sure you also learn to stop. Some people think they're taking space and start pushing up so far simply because they can. You have to be smarter than that. You have to keep in mind that the more excess space you take, the harder it is to maintain that space. So taking 15 meters of space will be easier to maintain than taking 50 meters of space. This is simply because it's harder for your team to push up that far, especially when half of your team is still trying to stay on cart. If you're dying with no one around you, it's not your bad aim, it's your bad positioning. High ground, choke points, line of sight. This stuff isn't just important for DPS, it's critical for tanks too. A smart tank doesn't just walk forward, they cut off angles. If you're a dive-off tank, take control of a portion of the enemy backline. Try to constantly annoy the support so they have to rotate to a worse position where they can't heal their team as well. Or to a place where they just stop healing their team altogether because they're too busy dealing with you. If you're playing a main tank, stand between the enemy and your supports to block sightlines and protect your squishies. As obvious as that sounds, I've seen so many people in higher ranks not do this and be so tunneled on trying to deal damage or just be more aggressive. Yes, as a tank you should be aggressive, but sometimes it's okay to be defensive when it's needed. That being said, when it's time to be aggressive and their tank is still in the front line making it hard for you to take meaningful space, a good strat is to either displace him by using something like a Bucky Hook or Wolverine to push him out of the LOS of his supports, or if your DPS can't do that, try your best to play past the enemy tank and use your shield to block off the enemy heals. At the end of the day, one of the biggest signs of a great tank is his level of awareness. You need to not only know where the enemy is, but also your own DPS and supports are at so you can make it easier for them to play around you. That's control. That's tanking. If you're still dying first in fights, even after hitting your abilities, You don't need to learn a new hero. You need to master where you're standing and why. Because every death starts with bad positioning, and every great tank play starts with knowing where to be before the fight even starts. Now this video is all about tanks, but if you're support, your positioning rules are completely different. Instead of leading the team, you're anchoring from behind, dodging flanks, maximizing LOS, and staying alive long enough to win the fight. I'm working on a full breakdown of support positioning, so if you want that video, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss it. Look, you can land every ability or hit every combo, and sure, in lower ranks that might work, but if you're out of position, you'll lose anyway. You won't be able to climb, and chances are you'll peak at silver, or if you're lucky, gold. Contrary to what most people think, tanking isn't about just being aggressive. It's about precision. Right place, right time, the right range of your supports. Master that, and you'll learn to control the entire pace of the match from start to finish. If this video helped you and you want another helpful video about tanks, click here. And if you could please give me any feedback in the comments below, I'd really appreciate it. I also just recently hit 500 subscribers, so I wanted to say thank you so much. It happened so quick and I really appreciate it. So if you want to show me your support and try to help me get to 1,000, subscribe. Anyways, thanks again and see ya.